All right, welcome everybody. I am here with our Down and Dirty at 1:30 Central Time, and this is Vashon, Borich, your host. I'm sorry we're a few minutes late here. Evidently, the internet didn't want to cooperate with me today. I don't know if anyone else has ever had that trouble, but it makes for a fun time when you're trying to launch on time. But I'm glad you're here. I want to share with you today is something based on your beliefs and mindset. So if you receive my email and you got that, then you'll know that today is all about money. We're going to be discussing specifically, the actual title is Your Relationship with Money is Affecting Your Success. So if you right now are not experiencing the type of success and prosperity that you would like in your life, then I'm going to just go out there and tell you that most likely it stems from your beliefs about money. And you don't have to believe me right now. You can just kind of, watch with an open mind. But I can tell you that when I changed my beliefs about money, that things started to change in my life for the better. So we're going to go through, I have a PowerPoint that I put together today. What we're going to do is we're going to go through specific steps to help you unblock those belief patterns that you might have right now in your life that are preventing you from having success and prosperity. So are you excited? Well, I hope you are, because I spent a lot of time putting this together and I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you today. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to flip it around. I've got my screen share going on here. All right, here it comes. All right, your relationship with money is affecting your success. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Before I go on and begin, I did want to remind everyone that if you're watching this particular Hangout on my Hangout page, which hopefully most of you are, that below that you will see there's a box. There's a box there. That's for you to interact with me and talk and chat and just say hello if you want. It doesn't cost you anything to log into that and leave me a little message. Or if you have questions, be sure to fill them out there, because what that's going to do is after this Hangout, I'm going to be checking that immediately and I'll respond to any questions. I'll even say hello to you. And of course, if for whatever reason you can't log into that, be sure to message me. You can respond to the emails that I send out to you, or you can also respond to me via Messenger on Facebook. So I hope that that helps you, but I really want to keep the lines of communication open for all of us. All right, let's get going. We're going to start off by playing a little game, okay? I think you're going to like this game. This game is going to really help you start to visualize your life in a different way. So you ready? It's a short little game. All right, so right now, I'm going to give you $1,000 today. All right, now that I'm pretending now, I'm not really going to write you a check today, but hey, you never know. Anyhow, I'm going to be giving you $1,000. So you can only spend it, here are the rules, you can only spend it on yourself on something that gives you pleasure. All right, so you can't invest the $1,000, you cannot save it, and you can't give it away to somebody else. So you have to spend it on something for yourself. You have 24 hours to spend it. Okay, this is how the game goes. All right, so hopefully you got the rules. You're clear. You've been given your $1,000. Let's imagine you just got it right now. Now, as quickly as you can, in the box below, tell me in detail immediately how you will spend it. So I'm going to wait here for a second and see how you're going to spend the money. I'm going to actually check my other screen here. So I'll give you just a few minutes here to write out how are you going to spend $1,000 today. You have 24 hours to spend it. I'm curious what you're going to do with that $1,000. Okay, hopefully you got some good answers down there. So basically, and I'm trying to log into my other screen, it's not being very cooperative. I'll give you a few more minutes as I try to log in here. All right. Okay, so hopefully everybody had a chance to write something down. If you couldn't get into the box, maybe you're having trouble getting into my chat window, no big deal. What I recommend is that you do take some notes and write this down, because you're going to find this very fascinating as to how your belief structure is affecting money with you. All right, so hopefully every one of you spent it on something for yourself, okay, and you wrote it down in detail. All right, so you won the game. If you came up with an idea very quickly, because I didn't give you very much time on how you'd spend it, then here's what happens. If you won, I'm going to give you another $1,000 to spend in 24 hours. Same rules apply. You have to only spend it on yourself. Okay, same rules apply. You can't invest it or save it or give it to somebody else. You have to spend it on yourself. All right, and write down what your thoughts are on this too. If you're taking notes on this, write down your thoughts. You know, how do you feel about spending that money just on yourself and not on anybody else? Does that bother you, or are you cool with it? You know, what are your thoughts? So I'm going to go back one here. So here's how this game continues. Every day, if you can think of a way to spend it on yourself, spend $1,000, you're going to get another $1,000. That's how the game works. Now the goal is to be able to quickly name off ways that you're going to spend it and see how many days you can go. You know, in your mind's eye, how many days can you go and just spend that money on yourself? I want to share something with you. Most people can't go much further than 5 days, 5 to 7 days actually. So a week. They can only go about a week before they run out of, you know, ideas, before it becomes hard to come up with ideas on how they're going to spend that $1,000, because they can't invest it. They have to spend it that day. But here's the thing. A wealthy person, they would see that $1,000 and they could spend it probably in the next 5 minutes buying something online for themselves, or, you know, whatever they're going to do. You know, it would be easy to spend a bunch of money to go and get a bunch of books to improve themselves, or an online program or something like that. So I hope that this is kind of opening your mind, because if you're having blocks right now on spending $1,000 a day, then it tells me that, or it should tell yourself actually, that perhaps you're not ready to be really wealthy. Now, this doesn't mean that, you know, if you do, or once you create that wealth in your life, that you're going to be this person who is always spending money on yourself. It just means you have to be comfortable with spending money, because a lot of times, a lot of people think that they want to be wealthy, but in reality, they're really, really uncomfortable with spending money. And so there's no purpose, the universe, God, or whoever you believe in, there's no purpose in that giving you money if you don't ever want to spend it. Okay, hopefully you're with me on that. So let me put this into some terms here. This is putting money into terms. So let's say that we did this game for real, and I gave you $1,000 every day. So I gave you $1 million. It would take you 2.7 years to spend $1 million at $1,000 per day. Okay, that just, hopefully that kind of opens your mind to how much money that really is. So you could go, wow, almost 3 years spending $1,000 per day if you had $1 million in your bank account. Okay, so then let's go to the next thing here. So being a millionaire is not as big as it once was. Now the big game is, you know, I want to be a billionaire. I mean, you hear that a lot now. So I think there's even a song, I want to be a billionaire. I'm sure you've heard that one. And, you know, to become a billionaire, it would take 2,739 years to spend $1 billion at $1,000 per day. So doesn't that kind of shock your mind to think how much money that really is? So a lot of people want to be wealthy because they see wealth as a way to take care of their needs and to, you know, do things for themselves that maybe they had never been able to do. Well, the truth is when you're really wealthy, you have to find other ways to spend that money, or it's just sitting in a bank account doing nothing. And to me, money is an energy flow. It's a flow of energy. So you have to keep it in motion in order for it to continue to cause prosperity in your life. If you just stagnate that money and put it in an account or bury it in your backyard or whatever, then that money, it ceases to be energy, and you kill the energy of the flow of money coming into your life. All right, we're going to go a little bit deeper on this throughout this presentation today, but hopefully this game has opened your mind. And I challenge you to play this with your family. I did this with my sons, and we really had a lot of fun with it because we realized initially that it was quite hard to come up with ways to spend money on ourselves. And then we got creative and we started thinking, oh, well, something that would bring me pleasure would be to go out for ice cream and take a whole party of kids that are maybe underprivileged for ice cream that day as well. So we started being creative with it, in that we were still spending it on ourselves, but we were spending it on others at the same time. So these are just some ideas I want to throw out in your head and to help you with changing your beliefs about money. All right, we're going to press on. All right, so the next part of this presentation is the blocks, your prosperity blocks. You know, things that are preventing wealth from coming to you right now. I know it may sound kind of esoteric that, you know, that you have something mentally that's causing you to not be wealthy, but you'll find that it really does start with the mind. If you don't have the beliefs about money straight in your mind, you literally are repelling money away from you. You realize that? You're pushing it away. We're going to talk about that too. So how do you truly feel about money and wealth? Well, let's go to the next slide if it'll flip over here. Okay, so these are some stumbling blocks to your thoughts on money. We've talked about these in some other presentations, but basically, I'm going to skip over that one. We're going to talk about a quiz. We're going to take a short 10-question quiz. And what I'd like you to do is, on a piece of paper, just go ahead and number down the page to the number 10. And you're basically going to answer these questions right off of your first gut feeling. You're either going to write down agree or disagree. So you can just put A or D for agree, disagree, next to your numbers. We're going to go through these relatively quickly, but I want you to use your gut feeling, okay? Don't overthink this. Just, you know, when you read the statement, and I'm going to say it out loud too, I want you to write down, do you agree with that statement or do you disagree? Okay, are you ready? Here we go. First one, I don't deserve a lot of money when others have less than I do. Agree or disagree? Okay, we're going to move on. All right, 2, you shouldn't accept money from friends. Do you agree with that or disagree? Okay. 3, it's selfish to spend a lot of money on yourself. Some of you who recently took that quiz or took my game, you may have felt kind of selfish spending $1,000 on yourself. So do you agree with this or disagree? 4, it's noble to live with less money. Agree or disagree? All right. 5, money tends to corrupt people. Agree or disagree? All right. 6, I'm going kind of fast, but I want to make sure that you guys have a chance to think about it a moment. 6, you must work hard to be rich. All right. 7, if I was rich, this is you speaking, it would be hard for me to trust others and what they want from me. Okay. 8, wealthy people are often wasteful with their money. Agree or disagree? Okay. 9, we're almost done here. I'm uncomfortable talking about how much money I have or make. Okay. And last question. Money would solve most of my problems. Agree or disagree? All right. So hopefully you've got all of your answers down. We're going to go back now and we're going to talk about, you know, what are the healthy answers. If you have a good relationship with money And hopefully you didn't answer it based on what you thought was the right answer. I hope you really looked at each of these 10 questions as your belief structure is. You know, what is it? How do you believe when you read that statement? Is it something that you have believed in the past? Is it something that you're still working through? You know, hopefully you posted that and not what you think the right answer should be. Okay, but the healthy answers, and we'll just go back to the top here. I know there's a quicker way, but I'm just going to flip through the top because sometimes I mess my slides up when I go to the other. There's a little way to do this. All right, we're going back. Almost there. I'll start. Last one. Okay, so the first one, and I'm just going to make this simple. Every answer on these, with the exception of the last one, with the exception of number 10, every answer should have been disagree. Okay, so number 10 was agree, but every answer prior to that should have been disagree if you have a healthy relationship with money. Now, I don't want you to look at this like, oh man, because here's the thing, all of us have some of these struggles in our life. Okay, even me, there's some of them that, you know, I agreed with that definitely, you know, now that I've learned more about money and wealth, I should have disagreed with. And so I'm working through that. Now that I know that that's a hang up, a block that I have, I'm working through ways to open that block in my life. Okay, so let's talk about it and why they are things that you should disagree with. So number one, I don't deserve a lot of money when others have less than I do. I mean, sure, I know that it can be challenging when you see, you know, people that are struggling in your life that don't have money. And perhaps you grew up in a family where they saw rich people as being very selfish and not willing to help others that have less. Well, the truth of the matter is that money is not going to help people that have less than you do. I mean, I'm sorry, the lack of money. I misspoke there. The lack of money is not going to help people that have less than you do. Now you're just in the same situation that they are. But when you have money, you have the capability to help those that have less than you do, if that's your choice. Okay, it's not a equality situation. Unfortunately, the world doesn't work that way. And you know, if you have money or you don't have money, what you do with that money is really up to you. It's not whether or not money's just a tool. In other words, having the money is not going to make you less of a person versus not having the money. It shouldn't matter. Okay, it shouldn't matter at all whether you have money or not. But I will tell you that if you truly believe that you don't deserve money, then you're not going to have it. You're going to find ways to not have it in your life unconsciously. That's what's going to happen. Even that when you think you want more money, it's not going to come to you because you truly believe that you don't deserve it because there are others that have less. Okay, so that's something to think about and work through. Let's go to the next one. You shouldn't accept money from friends. This one actually was kind of a challenge to me personally because, and here's why, and maybe you feel this way too, and I've since gotten over it, but I have grown up with this concept that when you have a friend that you just do favors for them. Okay, you help each other. That's part of being a friend, right? And so in business, and I've had a number of different businesses in my life, I had a really hard time with doing work for friends. And honestly, once I got to know a person, then in my mind, they were a friend. Whether or not we were really a close friend or not, they were a friend. So because I knew them and I knew who they were, where they came from, I had a very difficult time accepting money from them because I felt like, you know, as a friend that I shouldn't do that. But the truth is if, let's say that you have a friend who asks you to come over and help them paint their house, okay, and you spend all day there painting their house, right? So, and then they in turn, they come back and they say, hey, let me give you some money for your work. And because you did all this work for them, but they're your friend, you don't want to accept it. So, oh, no, I don't want to accept it. I'm just here because friends do things for other people. Well, the truth is, yes, that's a nice thing, but here's what happens. You now have a debt to them, or you've generated a mental debt with that friend. Okay, do you understand where I'm going with this? So even though, let's say you did not accept any money from them, you just said, hey, next time you can come and do something, and help me at my house. Well, that's fine, but you have to keep in mind the whole purpose of money is to share energy. You're sharing energy back and forth between the world, between your community. So let's say now that same friend, you have some project that you need help with. Maybe you're moving, it's moving day. And you call that friend who you helped paint their house and you ask if they can help you move, there were boxes and stuff. And they turn you down. They can't do it. So now do you feel some animosity there because you did a favor for them and therefore you kind of feel like they should do a favor for you because of you helping them, right? Are you with me? So basically there is a debt there that is not paid, and that's what a lot of times causes this friction between friends and family. You can replace this word friends with family, and so now all of a sudden you have this debt. So now that debt could be settled in other ways, like maybe instead of accepting money from your friend when you painted their house, maybe they offer to take you out for dinner. So now that debt is settled. Okay, so anytime that you do some type of work, there has to be an exchange of some kind. All right, so don't be afraid to accept money from friends or some other type of payment from your friends, and vice versa. Don't be afraid to ask or give payment or some kind of a service to your friends in order to settle that debt. That is all part of the flow of money. Okay, all right, so let's go to the next one. It's selfish to spend a lot of money on yourself. If you believe that, then you're not going to have a lot of money, okay? Because you all of a sudden you feel like having money and spending it is a bad thing. And so therefore you're literally repelling money coming into your life because you are worried about appearing as selfish. So again, money can be used for good or it can be used for evil. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy or you're not. There are poor people who are evil. There are rich people who are evil. There are poor people who are good. There are rich people who are good. So you choose. It's not about being selfish. Sometimes you may want to spend money on yourself. A lot of it, actually. That's okay. If you have it, there's nothing wrong with that. You may use even more money to spend on others. You just have to be okay with it and stop putting a stigma on having a lot of money. This kind of goes along with the same one I just talked about. It's noble to live with less money. If you truly believe that, then you will never have money. And this may be an unconscious thing that maybe you've been told again as a child that, well, it's maybe you've even heard the Bible verse about that, it's a bit more difficult for the rich to go through the eye of a needle. So you have this idea that the rich people won't go to heaven, and so it's more noble and it's more of a sacrifice and an honor to your God to live with less money. But the truth of the matter is money is noble. Money itself, it goes back to being, you choose to be good or evil. You can use more money to help more people. So don't look at it that it is not noble to have money. All right? Money tends to corrupt people. Again, no, I strongly disagree with this one, because there are wonderful people who have a ton of money and they use it for so many good things. There are also people who use it for bad things. It's not the money that corrupts people. It's themselves. It's who they are. They choose to be bad or good. So don't put money into that equation. When you see money, if you have that feeling, you're literally repelling money away from you. 6, you must work hard to be rich. Let's think about that one for a second, okay? This is one I definitely heard a lot of growing up, okay? You have to work hard in order to have money, right? You have to work hard. A lot of us have heard that. But the truth is, there comes a moment in your work life in which you realize you cannot put enough hours in order to be rich. You run out of time. There's only 24 hours a day, and even if you worked every hour of every day, which is impossible because you have to eat and sleep and all the other stuff, you would never reach the amount of wealth that you desire, such as becoming a millionaire. or a billionaire for that matter. So working hard is not what makes you rich. It's working smarter. We're going to talk about some of that towards the end of this slide presentation on ways that you can work smarter and become very wealthy. Okay. You also may have this stigma too that, you know, if you're not willing to work hard, maybe you have other priorities in your life and you just don't want to work that hard, that you can't be rich. And if that's something that you believe in, then again, you never will be. Okay. I think I'm not showing my slide presentation. Somebody just texted me. So if you're missing all of these things, I just realized my slide presentation is not really showing very well. But anyhow, hopefully you're seeing it now. Yeah. Okay, so basically you must work hard to be rich is a disagreement statement. So that's number 6. Let's go to 7. If I was rich, it would be hard for me to trust others and what they want from me. If you truly believe that everybody's out to get you if you have money and that you lack trust in other people, then that is something that you need to work on, okay? Because just because you're rich doesn't mean that other people are going to treat you differently. Now, some might, obviously, but your true friends, they aren't going to. And you can't have this stigma that I don't want to be wealthy because I don't want people to not trust me. So if you have that, you need to work on that as well. Okay, so let's talk about how wealthy people are often wasteful with their money. Do you believe that? I mean, have you seen wealthy people that, you know, spend their money on useless items or just seem to blow their money? Well, here's what I want to put into your mind right now. If you believe that, then you're probably coming from what's called a scarcity mindset, that there is a limited amount of money in this world. And if you believe that there's limited amount of money, then you will start to see things that other people buy, or even that yourself or your family buys, as being wasteful. And you don't want to look at it that way, because the truth of the matter is wealth is unlimited. Unlimited. There is enough money to go around for everyone in the entire world. Now, you may say that that's really a bold statement, and that may even sit with you wrong. But the truth is, there is more money than you could possibly even imagine. We talked about the billionaire, right? If you had $1 billion, it would take you 2,739 years to spend it at $1,000 a day. Okay, and there are lots of billionaires in the world. So if that's the case, you know, it doesn't matter what they do with their money if it makes them happy. Okay, and whatever you do with your money, it's going to make you happy. So stop looking at it as like money is limited, because it's not. Here's number 9. I'm uncomfortable talking about how much money I have or make. If you're uncomfortable with it, then that tells me that you really don't have a good relationship with money. You should be able to talk about money. You know, you become more comfortable the more you talk about it, because you realize that you're in a certain spot in your life. That doesn't mean that it's limited. Let me explain something to you. I had somebody come to me who you know, bought one of my programs that I have through my online system. And they literally told me, they said that was their last dollar. They could not buy anything else because that was their last dollar, and they were putting full faith that this would work. And I thought to myself, you know, that's really sad that they feel that that's their last dollar, that that's the last dollar they'll ever make. Because the truth of the matter is that money flows in and out of our life. And when you actually are having trouble making money, or you feel like you are, a lot of times it's because you're holding on to it so tightly that you're afraid to spend your dollar, or you even call it your last dollar, because you think that it's scarce, that it was very hard to make, and that it may never come back to you again. So stop thinking about that and start releasing. And in fact, I've known people that are extremely wealthy that have sold literally everything they own. in order to free up open their hands to receiving new wealth. And literally the day that they sold everything off, things started to flow into their life. Now, I'm not recommending this. I'm not telling you guys go out and sell everything you own. I don't want you guys to get that out of the story. But I am saying that if you're holding things tightly to you, it's hard for new things to come into your life. So be willing to release and understand that it's a flow and that more money will come into your life. And that's going to help you to be able to talk about it too. If you have limited income right now, talk about it. Open up about it and be willing to know that this is a stepping stone to wealth for the future. And the last one, money would solve most of my problems. This one I agree with. And some of you are like, really? Well, here's why I agree with it. And I've proven this through some research that this is, something you should agree with for healthy wealth, is that if you have a lot of money, and everybody says, maybe one of the main reasons you don't want to be rich is that you're worried about all of the implications that go along with being rich, such as increased taxes, managing all of that money, banking. Maybe you're not really into banking and just understanding how to do that, and finances and this, that, and the other. Well, money helps to solve those problems. Why? Because now you have money to pay somebody to help you with your finances. And if you're worried that that person is going to run off with your money, you can hire another person to watch over that person to ensure that your money doesn't get taken away from you. If you're concerned that something is going wrong in your life, most of the time you can give money, or money will help resolve that. So you could go on and on. If any problem that you believe that money will cause in your life, I bet you I can come up with a solution that same money could solve. So start looking at money as a tool of energy that flows through your life in and out, and suddenly you'll realize that being wealthy is not the problem. Now, the reason I want you to understand this is because I knew a person who had a business, and they had these two beliefs. One was never take money from friends, and the other one was never accept money from strangers, because they had heard that as a child. And here they had a retail store, and every time somebody would come in and buy something from them, their subconscious mind would say, are they a friend or are they a stranger? Well, if they're a friend, I shouldn't take money from them. And if they're a stranger, I shouldn't take money from them. Well, since they're not a friend, they're not a stranger, I don't know what they are. And so now I'm uncomfortable. And so this person was putting off this aura to their customers that they didn't want the money, where they needed it in order to keep their store going, but their store was failing. But because they had these beliefs about money, they literally were steering people away from them, because other people, they couldn't put their finger on it, but they always felt uncomfortable buying something in that store. Well, when this person realized that that was their belief structure, here's what they did. They started thinking about, well, have I taken money from strangers before, and what has resulted from that? Well, of course they had. They had been lent money to open their retail store, and they had had a lot of success in other things. And so they looked at that and they said, well, wow, so then strangers are not the problem. And then they also realized that friends are not the problem either. It's okay to accept money from friends in exchange of services, like we spoke of earlier. So once they realized that, all of a sudden this feeling of the anxiety lifted from them. And so when people came into their store, they didn't project that anymore. They didn't project that negative energy, and people were happier to spend money there, and they were just happy to be around this person. And literally within 3 months of this particular retail store owners changing their belief structure, their business started changing and growing and becoming more profitable than they ever had experienced. In fact, they had their most profitable month of their entire 10-year retail store opening on that month once they realized that. So I hope this story kind of helps you, because if you have some of these old belief structures, go back and think back to your childhood as to why you feel that way or why somebody said that and why it's not true. And you'll find that once you release that you open a blockage in your life that literally is repelling people from you from buying your services. Okay, hopefully this is helping you guys. If you're getting some good value from this, be sure to comment in the box below and just let me know what you're learning and that that you're becoming more open to money. I hope that's what you're doing, because that's my goal today. All right, so let's go a little deeper here. So here are some principles. I'm going to give you 3 principles that will help you to release those blockages from you that are repelling money away from you. Okay, the first one is you must truly believe that you deserve to be wealthy before you can become wealthy. Okay, so think about that. Do you truly believe that you deserve to be rich? If you in your gut you say, no, I don't feel like I deserve it, then you're blocking that from coming into you. You really have to think deeply on this and think about what is it that's causing you to not feel that you deserve it. And go back and evaluate that and then change your belief on that. And changing your belief may be as simple as just saying out loud, I don't believe that anymore about myself or about money. And I'm ready to step into my abundance. So what you've done is you've just turned off that belief in your life, and now you're stepping into your abundance so that you can start opening up the channels to be wealthy. So that's the first principle. The second principle is we become what we think about. This one is huge. If any of you have read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, this book is basically, that's the secret. If you read the book, you know at the very beginning they're talking about there's a secret in the pages of the book and you'll have to find it. Well, the secret is everywhere in the book. Okay, it's everywhere, even in the title. It's what you think about, you become. That's the secret. And it's the principle. It's so true. Now, what do I mean is that here's the thing. When you think that you don't have enough money, then that money won't come into your life. Things are going to happen where you feel like you don't have enough money. Maybe you'll get an unexpected bill, or perhaps some emergency comes up, and all of a sudden you just feel like money's being pulled away from you faster than you can make it. And so you will become that person in which you don't have enough money. But if you start believing that you do have enough, you are enough, you have all the skills and talents you need, that you start thinking that, wow, I'm so grateful for the things that I have in my life, and I'm looking forward to this happening in my future. All of a sudden, you start opening the channels, and money starts flowing to you because you are receptive to having that money in your life. And the more you think about something, the more it expands. And I did some experiments for those of you that follow me on my blog. I did a 9-part series on wealth and what you think about. Actually, it wasn't just on wealth. It was what you think about. And you can go into my section on my blog on toughmamablog.com, and there's a section called experiments. It's a category. When you click there, you'll see all 9 experiments, and it literally will change your entire perception on what your thoughts are capable of creating in your life. So go through that. If you're having trouble understanding that you become what you think about, I challenge you to take those experiments, and they're just simple scientific experiments that you can try at home. And if it doesn't change your mindset, I don't know what will, because it completely changed mine. And I am very skeptical when it comes to these types of things. So this is a really important principle. All right, let's go to the next one. The definition of prosperity. This right here will help you to realize what wealth really means. So prosperity is the act of functioning effortlessly and conveniently in the physical universe, whether you have money or not. So why is this important? Why is it important to understand the principle of prosperity? Well, it's important because You cannot be prosperous unless you believe you already are. So the more you believe that you are prosperous, and truly you are, if you're watching this today, then most likely you have a computer and an internet connection. And most people in the world, in third world countries, etc., even in the US, do not have the convenience and the luxury of having all of that. And so the fact that you're here today tells me that you are prosperous. You may not have as much money as you'd like, but you are prosperous. So prosperity to me means not being stressed out about where you are today. It's realizing that you're in the right place at the right time and being thankful for where you are and all of the experiences that are going on in your life, and understanding that money is not the problem. It's your mindset. When you start improving your mindset and your thoughts on wealth and money, then the things in your life that are bothering you and are causing you stress, they fall away. So this has really, really changed me, because I know some of you know my story. When I lost my job, I was making a great deal of money, or at least I thought it was a great deal of money back then. And this has been 2 years ago. And I literally was concerned. I didn't know. I mean, I went through this whole stress period of not knowing where the next dollar was going to come from. And I was scared. And when I started thinking that way, money didn't come. It didn't flow. I didn't have any. It was very, very challenging. And I was a single mom, and I was the sole income earner, and I got no child support. So because I was also divorced. So what happened was, here I had no money, and I had this concept that, oh my gosh, where's it going to come from? Well, it was causing me to obviously be more stressed. It was affecting my health. It was affecting my relationship with my family. It was affecting me getting income. It was affecting me growing a business that I was starting. So it affected everything because of that belief structure. Once I started releasing that and saying, you know what, I have enough, I am enough, and I believe that I am prosperous now, all of a sudden things started working. It started flowing. It's like I opened up that blockage. And once I believed that, what you think about expands. So more money started flowing into my universe. And I'll tell you what, it's been 2 years, and my family and I have not struggled. Okay, I can't tell you that we haven't had challenges. We have. But we have not struggled financially. We've been able to live in our home. We have a very nice home in southern Missouri. We've been able to go on trips. We've been able to go places and do things and buy things, and we haven't struggled for buying any groceries or anything like that. And it all stems to me from mindset and believing that we have enough and we are enough, and things start flowing. All right, so let's go into some tips to attract wealth. And this is the last part of my presentation today. I know that it's a full hour today. So we talked about prosperity, the act of functioning effortlessly. So let's talk about the first tip, and that's stop fighting money. Don't let money be the control of you. How many of you out there have actually said, I don't have enough money to do this? I'm sure a lot of you had. Whatever it is that you want to do, maybe you said, I don't have enough. Well, the truth is, you're letting money control you. You're letting the money be your decision maker in your life. What if you made a new decision today? What if you decided that this is something you believe in and that you want to do, and you're going to do it whether the money is there or not? I know that may sound kind of helter-skelter for some of us who have very strong belief systems and have grown up in corporate America or whatever. But I'll tell you what, when you make a decision that's different from fighting money, all of a sudden things become possible that were not possible before. Okay, I'll give you an example. Some of you know that I am taking my entire family to Bali, Indonesia at the end of this month. This is a huge trip. It's for a mastermind that I do with the Unstoppable Tribe. And I am super excited about it. I cannot wait to go on this trip. And not only that, but to bring my whole family, my fiance, my new fiance, and my 2 little boys with me on this journey of a lifetime. Now, I did not have enough money in my bank account at the time when I booked this trip. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I did not have that there. It wasn't there. And I mean, give you an idea, it's over $10,000 to go on this trip, including airfare and everything. So for all of us, so it's not an inexpensive trip. And I didn't have that sitting in my bank account just ready for this trip. I mean, I have money there, but it wasn't for traveling. But I set an intention that I was going to go there. There was something in my heart that said I needed to be there, and my family needed to be there, and we're going to find a way to get there, and we're going to do it whether the money is there or not. Now, some of you may say, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I can't believe that you would do that. Well, the truth is when you start thinking that things are crazy, that's when you're the one that's crazy, because you have the ability to attract to you whatever it is that you want in this world. And that's exactly what I did. And I tell you what, the entire trip is paid for as of Sunday. The entire trip is paid for. Okay? So that just proves to you that when you believe in something, that it'll happen. You can make it happen. Okay? So stop fighting the money. Open your hands. Be willing to give. Be willing to take a risk. And you'll find that you start getting in the flow. All right, the next tip. Your natural talents, passions, hobbies, and experiences are there for a reason. So everything that you've experienced up to this point are there for a reason. Now, you may say, oh my gosh, there's been some really horrible things that have happened to me. How could that possibly be there for a reason? Well, it's there because it taught you an important lesson. Now, I know that that's hard for some people to understand. You may have had, deaths in your family. You may have had some really tragic things happen to you. But for whatever reason, it did. It happened. I don't know why. I'm not God. I can't tell you why it happened. But I can tell you that it created who you are today. And if you want to attract wealth, you need to realize that those things that have happened to you and your natural abilities that you're born with, the things that you enjoy doing, your passions, hobbies that you do, and those experiences, those are there so that you might be able to help someone else. And once you realize that, you will start attracting wealth. Now, by realizing, that means you have to take action too. You can't just say, okay, I've got these things. Come on, wealth, start coming to me. You have to truly believe that these things are there for a reason, number one. Number two, start taking action to share that. And that goes into the next tip. And that is, here's your golden ticket. If you want to be wealthy, no matter what business you're in, you need to find a way to spread your service. That's those talents, hobbies, knowledge, experience that you've gained, to reach more people and find a way to do it more efficiently. Okay, so I'm going to share another story with you. This is one that was told to me a long time ago, but it really made me realize how much we have available to us. Okay, so here's the story, and I'm going to end on this today because this is my last slide. The story is, there was this boy, a young boy, who grew up in a family who had a lot of beliefs that many of you might have on money, that you have to work hard for it, that rich people aren't happy, that they're corrupt, that it was just on and on. It was limitations on being wealthy. Well, this boy, when he was 7, he saw a boat, a big yacht go by in the harbor where he lived, and there was a bunch of very well-to-do, well-dressed people on the boat having a party, and they looked happy. They were smiling and laughing. And so all of a sudden, this little boy, he thought, well, gee, he says, my parents always told me that rich people can't be happy. He says, they look happy to me, so that must be a lie. And so he started studying. He went and he got a library card. Here's a 7-year-old boy, and he got a library card, and he started going to the library and reading about wealthy people and what they've done, and famous people and athletes and all these different people, to find out more about them, because he realized that his parents didn't know the answer, and so he wanted to learn about people. And he became a voracious reader and learner. Well, by the time he reached 16 years old, this young man, came up with an idea. He decided, because he loved to read and he had all this knowledge, and he took lots of notes too, by the way, he decided what he was going to do is to record 5-minute stories. So he got a recording studio to record 10 sessions of 5-minute stories called The Rest of the Story. And each of these talked about a famous person, and at the end of the 5-minute segment, it told you who the famous person was. Perhaps you've heard of these. The gentleman's name, he's now deceased, but is Paul Harvey. And you can look him up. Paul Harvey is very famous. He's been on the radio in the past for years and years and years. And all he did was he produced a record, a vinyl record. This was back before CDs and digital. He produced a vinyl record that had these 10 segments called The Rest of the Story, 5-minute segments. And he went to local radio stations and he offered to sell that to them as 5 radio programs for $100 a record. So he would give them 10 radio programs for $100. And you know what? They all bought them. So, and it only cost him $100 originally to produce all of these vinyl records of the first 10. So all of a sudden, here's this young man who has sold, all of his records. So he literally made 100 times his investment just by realizing he could bulk share his service, which was knowledge, to reach more people and do it more efficiently. And he ended up becoming a multi-millionaire, because at one point he was selling so many, and he would do these every week. On a Monday, he would record 10 sessions of 5 minutes. He would send those out to the radio stations all over the world. And he became so wealthy that he was earning $100,000 a month. Actually, I think it was a week from what I recall. It was insane, because here he had all of these records. And all of this is because he realized that he could spread his service, his knowledge, to reach more people, and he found a way to do it efficiently. He only worked 1 day a week, 1 day, and he recorded all of those, and then he gave it to all these radio stations for a fee. So I hope this inspires you. That story really inspired me when I heard it. And I want to share with you too, because it wouldn't be a Team Tough call if I didn't invite you to be a part of Team Tough. And I'm going to flip this around now that you've heard my slide presentation. All right, there we go. So if you've been watching my Hangouts lately, you know that I like to invite you to be a part of Team Tough. We are a group of individuals who really believe in a different way of living. We believe in being business owners in a digital world. And one of the things that we do is we help each other to be successful and wealthy. And we have a series of digital products that we use that we share with you, that you can then in turn share with others and become wealthy yourself. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, maybe this is your first Hangout and you like what you heard today, then I encourage you to click on the button below. You'll see that below this video, there's a button that says Join Team Tough. That'll get you started, and you'll see that it's very reasonable to get started. If you want to make this a profession, then it's going to cost you a little bit more, but really the cost is less than the value of what you'll get out of this, because for me, it's transformed me into the leader I am today, and it's given my family and I a way to make an income that is flexible, gives us enough time that we can spend time together and travel and do all the things that we've always wanted to do that I couldn't do when I used to work in corporate America. So make it a great day. We'll see you next Monday for the Team Tough Down and Dirty at 1:30 Central. Take care.